All right, so hello everyone. We're gonna talk about it because I want to talk about it. Okay, so I had a situation while I was at work. So, as most people know, I work in a funeral home, and there are many. I mean, if you work in funeral home, if you have experience, then you know. But for individuals who don't know, every funeral, most funeral home, well, it just depends. You know, people run things differently. The expectations at any place is different. But where I work at, we hold receptions as well. For funerals or whatever. So there is a specific woman who tends to the dining area the most. This woman, she was the very first person that I met. She was very nice. But it seemed like when I first met her, it's like she wanted to dig her claws into me first. It's kind of like she wanted to get to me first about her expectations about what she does and what she expects from other people when she's not there. So I'm just like, okay, you know, I didn't think too much about it. I really didn't care. I'm in more of a position to where I am assisting other individuals. Okay, so today I had a situation with her because she asked me to clean the centerpieces, right? When looking at the centerpieces, I'm just like, I don't understand why she wants me to clean them because they don't look dirty. They're not dirty at all, but I mean, whatever, you know. Um, it was quite weird because when she asked me to do it, she looks at me and she says, am I being a bossy? Am I being bossy wanting to tell people what to do? And I told her, I said, well, it's fine. You asked me to do it. You know, I was a little annoyed because I'm just like, these mirrors aren't even dirty. From the day that I met her, she's made it very clear about how territorial she is over this area. And it seems like nobody can do it to her expectations. And she's has so much to say about individuals, who don't do it the way I guess that she approves of because she considers herself to do it right. But my thing is that that's where you chose to be, that's where you wanted to be. And you really don't like working with other people, obviously, because nobody does things to your expectations. Nobody does anything right except you. So that's what I picked up from her. But I mean, I pick up on a lot of things about people. I just really, don't give a fuck. I don't have to be there very often. I don't have to deal with individuals. You know what I'm saying? It's not that serious for me to, really want to get an attitude with her, or really even just say anything. But I'm going to tell you what kind of pissed me off a little bit. So there's another assistant that comes in and she pulls her to the side and she has the Windex in her hand. And I'm just like, is she about to have her do the same thing that I just did? So I go in there, I tell her, I said, yes, Miss Such and Such. So, I did what you asked me to do. She says, oh, really? I said, yes. I said, I mean, is it not good enough? She's just like, oh, no, I didn't know, I couldn't tell. You couldn't tell the first time neither. Because the shit wasn't dirty. There was nothing wrong with it. So for somebody to go back over it and clean it, even when it's clean, it's not going to look any different. So this is when I start to get annoyed with human beings. Okay. So later on, so I let it go after I said what I had to say to her. I let it go, and when we after the reception was done and we had to clean up, the woman that she was about to have clean the centerpieces, she tells me that she looked at the centerpiece and she's just like, well, I think that one needs to be cleaned. And I'm just, you know, I'm just like, she said that she actually looked at one of these centerpieces and said that the shit needs to be cleaned. You mean to tell me that something that was already clean and then got cleaned again still needs to be clean? So, at this point in time, I said, I started to get hot on the inside because I'm just like, Here you know, is she fucking with, is this woman fucking with me? You know, now I have to be mindful that individuals are a little older. And what I'm starting to notice about a lot of older women, I noticed it in men, you know, how people can be very prideful, very egotistical. And so, you know, I'm noticing that about a lot of women as well, older women. And, you know, I mean, me personally, I've never noticed it like this, but I mean, I have noticed it. I mean, I've worked with older women before, and it didn't seem, you know, I was younger though, so maybe I just really wasn't paying attention or really just didn't give a fuck. But, you know, I can see it. And my thing is, when I see who you are, I'm okay with it. I'm just going to move accordingly. You know, you entertain a lot of the wrong idea, and especially about me. And that can really annoy me, especially when you start speaking on shit and assuming things, you know. But I said, you know, it's not that serious. It's not that deep. You know, I can see like what's going on here. My thing is, stop asking people to do things because nobody will ever do it to your expectation. That's why you're in charge of the section that you're in charge of. And every time somebody does something, it's not good enough. It will never be good enough. You will never be satisfied with anybody else's work except your own. So, you know, this is another point and period where I get annoyed because it's just like you want to ask for help. And so I'm questioning myself. I said, does she really want help, or does she need to feel superior in some kind of way? Because it seems like some days she's tired of doing the same thing over and over again, but it's like she's putting on face like she got it. And see, this is what I be telling when you pay attention to somebody, when you're paying attention and you're seeing how inconsistent they are between what they do and what they say, it makes you go, there's something unstable. Now, the thing is that she's a really nice woman. She's really nice. She's real nice, and she's like real sweet. So you would probably hesitate to maybe want to confront her or say something to her, you know? So I was talking to a gentleman that works with me, and he noticed the same thing. I said, okay, thank you. And, you know, when he gave me an example of the same situation that he was in with her, you know, the way in which that he handled her, I said, wow, I want to be like that. That's what I said. I want to be able to do what you do, you know, because right now I feel like she needs to hear the truth and I need to confront her about some real shit, you know. Now you have to understand who I am on the internet is me. It's like I'm comfortable here with being me, being my own individual. When I go out into the world, I don't want people to know who I am. So I do what is expected of me when it comes to my job, and I don't do too much opening up or talking too much about myself. Maybe about my situation and maybe about my life, but not me as an individual. That is a part of my armor because I know who I am. And I know that a lot of individuals, you know, it's not easy. It would not be easy for them to accept me. And I know that uh, individuals in higher positions, because I hold authority within self. You can feel it in my presence. Most people do. You know what I'm saying? But in the workplace with individuals who are in positions of authority, in that place, they have the upper hand, right? So even though I am who I am, I cannot step on that territory and try to equate myself to them because it's on a whole totally different level. It's not my territory. So if there are any battles, I'm not going to win those battles against authority within that job, within that setting. So I have to play my role. I have to play my position. I really don't give a fuck. You know, I mean, it's not that serious. You know, I enjoy the job. I don't have anything to prove. It's a very humble position. You know, they offer opportunities to where you can grow and you can get more and all that type of stuff. I'm not interested. I like the scheduling. I like the work. I like the individuals that I work with. I'm good with where I'm at. I have other shit going on at home. I have other things, that I enjoy doing, that I'm pursuing outside of this job, things that I had going on before this job. So, to me, it's just not that serious to start no shit or to even come outside of myself and what I really want to show people, because I don't want people to see that side of me. And I have been meeting individuals within this environment to where when I sit back and observe how they deal with adversity and, people and their subliminal slick ways and all this type of shit, it inspires me. There are two individuals who are very close to my heart that I really appreciate being around. I really enjoy these people. These two people, they make me so happy. I love how they can be a light in a place of darkness. Because I mean, and you could expect that within a funeral home. It's gloomy. It's kind of gloomy work. You try to have a light approach about it. This and that. But I mean, come on. I mean, I don't want to be dealing and surrounded around death all day, every day. 5 days a week, 6 days a week. I don't want to deal with it. Just working, period, can weigh on you. But then in that type of line of work, it's just like it can really weigh on you. And it's not, it's just a job. But you have to have sympathy, compassion, and understanding that individuals are losing people who are close to them, who they love, and all this type of stuff. So it's a real conflicting job, because even if you can just totally be detached from it and not give a damn, then you're absolutely narcissistic as fuck. I'm just saying. It's absolutely, it's crazy. But with these two individuals, the way in which that they dance within that place around certain people, it inspires me. It inspires me. Because that's a whole other totally different level of freedom. With me, it's kind of like I'm constantly just having to eat the shit that annoys me because I don't want the real me to come out. Because I don't want to scare anybody. I know I'm going to trigger the fuck out of people. You know what I'm saying? And I know that I'm going to cause a lot of issues. You have to know, when you know what you're dealing with, like I said, you have to move accordingly. But with these individuals, it's kind of like the freedom in which that is within them. It's like this, it's an unbothersome. It's like a dance, they're just being themselves, loving life, happy that they are another day on this fucking earth. And then you just have people that will say certain things, act and behave a certain way. And it's like they're just dancing around it. They're dancing around the shots being fired at them. They're dancing around the rudeness. And it's two men. And to be quite honest, I feel like one of the men, I feel like a lot of women really want this man. How could you not want this man? He's so uplifting. He's stable. He's solid. He's a handsome, nice looking man. Carries himself very well. Dresses very well. He's an older man, but he's so full of life. And then you have these older women, and they're like uptight. It's giving like bitter. Oh, you need to act your age. Oh, you need to do this. You need to do that. I'm just like, who the fuck wants to get older and get all stale? As long as you're breathing, moving, you're living. It's like, so why aren't you living? And I feel like there are a couple of women in this place that really want this man, but it's kind of like, it's like they're too angry for him or something. I'm a woman. You don't want to get with a man and feel like you can't love on him the way that he loves on you. That's how a lot of jealousy starts in people's relationships, because it triggers the insecurity, like, oh, I can't keep up. Even if the person tells you, all you have to do is be yourself, you don't have to keep up with me. It doesn't matter, because it's not about what anybody else thinks about you. It's about what you think about yourself. So, it's like, it's just real. I feel like if I was older, uptight, grumpy ass woman, and just gossiping all the time and just talking shit and just unhappy, I would probably feel intimidated by a man like that too. Like, what could I really give him? At this point in time, he's bringing something that I lost years ago, which is life. And sometimes you have to be careful, because people want to steal the life within you. You want to be with someone to where you can share your life with them. Some people have died before they have actually died. Some people have died many deaths and been reborn. Some people have died many deaths and they just keep dying. But people have a story. But at the end of the day, we all been through shit. It is what it is. As easily as I want to sit here and say, oh, well, you have a choice. Well, everybody, you do have the choice. You do have the opportunity. But what I'm realizing is some people just don't know. It's like sometimes they just don't really know any better. And when I say they don't know any better, meaning that they don't have anybody to teach them or guide them. You know what I'm saying? And then when they meet individuals who are catalysts of breathing in, giving off life, joy, happiness, the fruits of the spirit. I mean, sometimes people reject it. It makes them uncomfortable. Everybody doesn't want growth. And you don't have to spend your whole life growing, I guess. I mean, as long as you're living, why not? Growth, when it comes to living nurtures the growth. You can't grow if you're not living, if you're not alive. You're just stuck, you're just stagnant. So, I mean, and here I am, I'm a young woman and I can see it. So what does that tell you about me? I have encountered some very cruel people. And when I find the ones cruel and dead, so when I find the ones who are full of life, and that doesn't mean that they don't have trials and tribulations and that they don't go through things either. They just know how to handle situations accordingly. So, I mean, I'm just like, wow, I want to grow, and when I get older, I still want to be living. I still want to be living. So after talking to that guy about the situation with this woman, I said, you know what? Okay, like, I can understand her being her. So what I'm just going to have, she's pretty much, I feel like I have to ignore her. Like, pay her no mind. You know what I mean? I'm definitely going to have to tell her no, because obviously she'll have you clean some shit that's already clean, which is a waste of time. But I feel like, well, I was there early. Time is what I have. It's fine. But I'm annoyed because of the unnecessariness. So next time, it's like, check the scene. If it's unnecessary and it makes sense, because it did not make sense to clean something that really did not need to be cleaned, to the point to where she couldn't even tell if the shit was dirty or clean. I mean, when I think about it, when I say it, I'm just like, man, that shit sounds crazy as hell. It sounds real crazy. So, you know I need to work on a little bit more of my compassion. I have the compassion. It's just being able to just dance like the other individuals. I'm so used to dancing with the devil. You know what I'm saying? I'm not used to dancing with God. So it's kind of like now, like God is reaching its hand out to me, and it's bringing me to the dance floor, and I'm like nervous and shy, like, oh my God, I don't know how to dance with you. So God is just like, don't be afraid. Let me show you. Follow my lead. And it's really actually absolutely that, it can all be that. It's that simple. It really is. Ooh, I told myself that I wasn't going to talk about this situation, but I absolutely had to get up off my head, and I was just feeling some tension within my back. I'm just like, I cannot sit here and act like it didn't get on my nerves, because it did get on my nerves. I must accept that it got on my nerves. But I also should be proud of myself that I was able to shield, that other side of me from coming out. I was able to discipline it. And in the midst of it, I was able to see, who she was. So, but now that we know, we can just move accordingly. Okay, so we're just going to wrap it up there. And until next time, we'll talk again. Thank you.